This is Kenyon College Television News with your anchors Brendan Keefe and Ed Curtis. Field reporters Carla Bernberg, Karen Devine, Sam Samberg, and Colin Parker.
Welcome to Kenyon College Television for April 4th, 1990. KCTV News is a weekly program highlighting Kenyon news and events. I'm Brendan Keefe.
And I'm Ed Curtis. Monday marked the beginning of Homeless Awareness Week at Kenyon. A group of students is camping outside of the Church of the Holy Spirit and will be collecting change for the duration of the week, including Friday and Saturday, Parents' Weekend. Among the activities presented this week, the Underground Railway Theater will be presenting a play entitled Home is Where. Now this will be at 8 p.m. in Ross Hall, April 4th, Wednesday. In that play is Wes Sanders, the father of Kenyon student Liam Davis, who has a leading role.
The first annual Senior Lip Sync contest was held in Ross Hall last Friday night and was a bigger success than any of the organizers could have hoped for. Now we could sit here and tell you all about the Senior Lip Sync contest, but we're going to let you see for yourself.
The best costume goes to, obviously, Neil Diamond and Barbra Streisand. The next prize, my favorite prize every year given, well, it is the first year, but it's a good prize. It's really a good prize. It goes to the worst act senior lip sync, and I really can't find anything on here. Oh, the senior class committee gets that. Worst act. Wait a second, I was in that act.
We worked a long time on that. I'm really disappointed. Thank you, judges.
Best synchronized lip movement. This will go to the young lady who portrayed the song Stay Up Late by Talking Heads.
Prestigious award I have ever won.
The best act is, well, I don't know if you would figure it out, there's 12 or 13 acts, so I don't know, I couldn't pick it. It was really just the underdog of the night. It's going to be a massive onslaught of women up here, but this going to a song written by a girl who used to wear a belt saying boy toy on her. This goes to the girls from Cat House doing Madonna.
did too.
Remember those people who sent you here? Well, they're coming to visit this Friday and Saturday for Parents' Weekend. Students will be showing off their talents in fine fashion with several dramatic and musical performances for this Friday and Saturday. In the Bolton Theater, 3 original plays will be shown, 2 at 8 p.m. on Friday and Saturday nights, and the other at 2 p.m. in a Sunday matinee. And in Ross Hall, at 8 p.m. on Friday night, the Chamber Singers, who just completed a triumphant tour of 6 Midwestern cities, will be giving a performance, in addition to a 4 p.m. performance on Saturday, which will feature students in a Department of Music student recital.
As of March 26th, Coach Bill Brown resumed his duties in the athletic department after being on medical leave since early last January. This story was made public in an open letter to the Kenyon community from Thomas J. Edwards, the Dean of Students here at Kenyon. Dean Edwards mentions the demonstrated concern for Bill Brown during his absence. Also announced in this letter, President Jordan has decided to recommend to the Board of Trustees that Brown be reappointed for the 1990-1991 college year. The Board of Trustees will meet here on campus next month to vote on Brown's reappointment.
Good to have Coach Brown back with us. And when we come back, we'll find out who are students' favorite professors.
I'm Brennan Keith, and when we come back, I'll have the story about 6 Kenyon students who just might be in trouble with the law. Well, Ed, I never got a chance to ask you, how was your spring break?
Good, Brendan. I got a week at home, and of course the highlight of my spring break was the quote-unquote triumphant chamber singer tour, which I enjoyed a lot.
Well, upon returning from spring break, the 6 residents of new apartment B2 were surprised when told that they may be evicted from their apartment due to the poor upkeep of that apartment. To top it all off, college officials confiscated a large amount of quote-unquote possibly illegal white powder from the apartment. I filed this story earlier. On March 12th of this year, the residents of new apartment B2 were sent an overnight letter from H. Stuart Fitzgibbon, Director of Student Housing Services. The letter was in 2 parts, the first part detailing the quote-unquote especially filthy condition of the apartment. Mr. Fitzgibbon told each of the students in the letter that he would, quote, choose to evict the students from their apartment. However, he did not want to impose their standards of housekeeping on other students, end quote.
Trash was a problem down there. There were literally piles of trash in the apartment. There was a box of beer cans, and you get the residual liquids, and things start growing in the residual liquids, and you start potentially really literally creating a health hazard. So that's what we're trying to avoid. It really comes down to simple neatness, just having an orderly approach to housekeeping.
The letter included a set of strict housekeeping conditions that the group must abide by in order to maintain residence in provided college housing. These conditions include, but are not limited to, the daily removal of trash and the daily pickup of clothing and debris from the floor of the apartment. Director Fitzgibbon also indicated that the apartment would be subject to weekly random inspections. In addition, the group is forbidden to host any social events in their apartment for the remainder of the academic year, including Senior Week for seniors. According to Director Fitzgibbon, this measure is supposed to, quote, assist the group with housekeeping, end quote, and is not to serve as a disciplinary measure. If the group does not meet the conditions stipulated in the letter, the college will terminate their housing agreement and the group will have to find housing elsewhere in the community.
My expectation is for immediate compliance, because in my judgment and in the judgment of Mr. Jacobs and the custodial staff, we have a legitimate health and safety hazard. So I expect compliance immediately.
The second part of the letter related the, quote, finding of a clear plastic pouch containing an unknown, possibly illegal, white substance in the living room of the apartment, end quote. College officials confiscated the packet of possibly illegal white substance and turned it over to the Knox County Sheriff's Office for analysis. The Knox County Sheriff's Office then in turn sent it to BCI, or the Bureau for Criminal Investigation and Identification in Columbus. The results of those tests have not yet been reported. The residents of B2 maintain that this substance is actually a packet of baking soda used as a drug-like prop in a movie made for Lewis Hyde's Trickster class last semester.
I went into the office and Tom Woosley was like, "Come in, Ted," and he's really serious, you know, and you can just tell that everybody was under the assumption that it was in fact an illegal substance. Sat me down, closed the door, introduced me to the other security officer. I was like, "This is kind of formal." I go, "Tom, it's just like baking soda or talcum powder," and he just went, "I'm so relieved to hear that." So, and I signed the affidavit or the statement.
Okay, there was no search in this case because the packet was lying open on the floor. There was no search done in that apartment at all. And in fact, one of the issues we discussed with counsel was, should a search be done? And the answer on that was that is again a matter for the sheriff to decide, and that the sheriff could get a warrant and search, since it's being handled under state law.
I was down south with the baseball team, and we had to send this itinerary home where we had like emergency numbers and where we could get contacted. And we're all sitting in our rooms, and my mom called me and picked up the phone. She's sitting there crying over the phone. I'm like, "Mom, what's going on?" So she was all choked up, and she couldn't really read she couldn't paraphrase anything. So she says, "Just wait a second, I'll read you the whole thing." So she starts reading the letter, and she gets to the entire, it came in two parts. The whole cocaine thing, the whole cocaine talcum powder thing was all the way in the back. And so she reads the whole first part. I'm like, okay, our apartment's messy, and they did minor repairs, blah, blah, blah. So she's all choked up, and so she reads the talcum, what it looked like, it was baking soda. And I just started laughing, and she's sitting there crying. My father was coming home. My father had already made 1 million calls to the school trying to find out what was going on. And I was just concerned because she was so worried. She was all upset because she was sure I was getting kicked out of school, and she was pretty sure I was going to be arrested if everything came back. And there's nothing else they could think except that it was true.
I think it's very important to notice that that statement is not an accusation. That statement simply reports the facts. And again, this was all done with the advice of legal counsel, that we're being very careful here not to accuse anybody of anything. That what we simply are doing is the college is responding to circumstances that have been defined by law as grounds for further action. So a custodial person found the pouch laying openly on the floor, and I have a picture to prove it. And that once that was found, then our obligations ensued from that. So that if the test results come back negative, then we will simply write a letter to that effect saying, this is to inform you that the test results are negative. But in terms of apology, I don't think any apology is necessary because there has been no accusation.
Although Director Fitzgibbon says that no accusations were made, the letter could very well have said that a possibly legal substance was found, as opposed to suggesting that the substance might be illegal. The residents of apartment B2 believe that calling the substance possibly illegal merely represents speculation and would thus not be associated with fact at all. The letters were addressed to each student and not to their respective parents. Nevertheless, 5 of the students were away on spring break, and the 6th was away for baseball team spring training. When each parent received the Federal Express letter from the college, although addressed to their child and not to them, many opened the letter sensing that something urgent might be enclosed.
So when this letter comes to us, I see, if you look at the tone in the letter, of the way he wrote, especially the way the apartment is messy, if you look at the tone in it, and then you look at the steps that we must take to keep it clean, the fact that we must have our laundry folded and in drawers and on hangers every day, that we must take out the trash every day, that there will be random inspections every couple days, that we're going to be treated in this respect. With this respect, I see this more not school policy, that we're not being treated as equals to any case, that we're being treated in a spiteful manner.
The students feel that the situation was handled poorly and that no effort to help them has been made by college officials.
The contact with the deans, we initiated. Any further progress with the substance, never reported to us. We asked, you know, and it's granted the school might not have wanted to hurt us, but they obviously did, and they're still taking no steps. They're just kind of kicking back and relaxing, and I feel like, you know, I've too many other things to worry about. And sure, Kenyon Kenyon upset my parents. They hurt my personal life, but you know, I'm going to be gone in a little while, so I'm just going to get through it, you know.
The question now is, where do we go from here?
We are going to make periodic inspections at reasonable hours. One of the students asked me the question, well, random seems to indicate you could come in at any time. And I said, well, and my response was that will somehow suggest bad faith on the part of this office. And we don't operate in that way. And that knowing that students are generally not up early in the morning, we would probably go down in the afternoon.
Almost malicious and spiteful, not to wait for our parents to call, instead of calling them and saying, listen, if you got this letter, I don't want you to worry. We just found something and we're just going through the legal channels. You know, when you say arbitrary, I mean, I think it is a perfect word for how the entire thing was handled.
The students here in apartment B2 agree that the apartment was especially filthy. However, they maintain their innocence regarding the possibly illegal substance confiscated by college officials. The Knox County Sheriff's Office has not yet determined what the substance actually is, but KCTV will inform you as soon as those results come in. For KCTV News in front of apartment B2, I'm Brennan Keefe.
As we told you last week, the women's softball team has been recognized officially by the college as a club. However, for the 1992 spring season, the team hopes to have varsity status with the NCAC. This year, the team has 35 members with representatives from all 4 classes and is playing 3 away games in addition to other games here at the college. KCTV had to go out in the field to file this story.
Spring has finally come to Gambier, and to most people, spring means sports, especially to Shelley Webb and Nancy Rocha, who decided this spring that they wanted to start a Kenyon softball club. Kenyon has never had a softball club or a softball team, so we're all excited to watch and see what's going to happen.
Well, we thought that in the spring at Kenyon, there's not enough sports really for women to play. There's tennis and lacrosse, but those are very kind of individual. You have to grow up knowing those sports. And softball is something that everyone in the Midwest plays. And we just thought that it was about time Kenyon, you know, had a softball team.
I'd like to say we're a learning team, and we're improving a lot.
Improving a lot, but there's many funny moments, a lot of fumbles as we start off. Getting walked and going to first base and tripping on our way to first base.
Someone throwing a third baseman, fielding a ball and then throwing to an empty base.
Throwing to the base where she was supposed to be. Yeah. And Mary Gialanza, freshman, knocking herself out with the bat while at home plate.
So wait, you're on a club level right now, but is there a possibility of you becoming varsity?
A club, you have to be a club for at least 2 years, and then you can apply for varsity status. And hopefully we could be an NCAC team by 1992.
It takes 2 years.
2 years.
And do you have anything exciting planned? Something coming up, like student-faculty games or special games like that?
Right, we have 3 NCAC games that we're going to be playing through the middle of April. And then on the 21st, we're going to play a game with the faculty. It's not really going to be against. We're just going to get a lot of female faculty and staff down there. It's also going to be a picnic for the community that we'll host. So we hope to get a lot of families, students down there just watching us play, kind of introducing our softball club to the community. It should be a lot of fun. Well, there'll be posters and stuff up about it so people can come down.
The softball club already has about 30 members right now, but if you're still interested in joining either for this season or for next year, just get in touch with Nancy or Shelley. And as usual, KCTV will keep you informed in what's going on with this club as it attempts to become a varsity team throughout the rest of the school year. But if you're interested, watch Newscope and stay posted on where the games are going to be. This has been Carla Bernberg reporting for KCTV News.
Tuesday, April 10th is Honors Day, a day Kenyon sets aside to honor its own with awards to past graduates and present students. Winner of prizes like the Malcolm Anderson Cup and new inductees to Phi Beta Kappa will be announced. And in addition, the Chamber Singers Surprise will be on hand to provide the music.
Just as Kenyon honors excellence in learning, Kenyon also honors excellence in teaching. Numerous Kenyon professors will be awarded distinctions of merit on Honors Day, but how do students show their regard for their favorite professors? Who do students feel is the best professor at Kenyon? KCTV's Susan Johnson went out in the field to ask Kenyon students who they imagine is the best teacher at Kenyon.
I like Professor Slack, and because he helped me a lot with, I was having a lot of problems with, like pre-calculus, and he helped me a lot.
Professor Bowman, because he lets you reach your own conclusions and so forth.
Can you tell me who your favorite professor is and why?
My favorite professor is Rita Kip, and what's that face for?
Can you like run this like after May graduation or?
My favorite professor, Mr. Guyhart, because he's really cool, but he's tough. He's tough, but he's really cool.
Professor Hardiman. Who is your favorite professor at Kenyon?
I'd have to go with Phil Church.
Oh, geez, that's hard. Professor Evans.
What? I like them all. I mean, I have three that are just the greatest. Heighthouse is great because he's just the nicest guy. And Evans, I had Evans last semester and he was great. And Father Gill.
Kay Willens.
I don't know what is the reason why you asked this question. May I ask that? I don't know.
The professor I've gotten the most from has been Professor Locke in the music department.
I guess it would have to be Professor Scott, the history chairman, because his section is really interesting and keeps the class going, and he really activates and motivates the class to a higher level than most of the history professors that I've had on campus.
Any professor, I'd say Professor Clore. He's been one of my favorite. He's very friendly. He knows his stuff. And I don't know, he's just wonderful in class.
Professor Tomita of Japanese language. He's very devoted. He works very hard. Probably works harder than we do.
I think the best professor I had here was probably Professor Lentz, because he makes class very interesting. How he presents it, I think, his lecturing style.
Probably Tim Schutt. I don't know, he makes it, he's very excited in the way he teaches, and he makes difficult texts understandable. He really helped me write freshman year, learn how, and improve my writing skills, and got me to enjoy literature more than I used to.
Professor Anthony Fothergill. He's the reason why I became an English major. He's just really a good person to talk to and really got me interested in English.
Can I pick two?
I think it would be Carl Bremen, Economics Department.
Oh, wait, can I pick four? Four.
Well, I like Dr. Fisk, as a matter of fact. He's pretty nice. He's in computers. He's the computer professor we have here.
Let's see, Professor Rhodes in religion, Professor Melanson, Professor Michonis. Wait, what's my fourth class? I'm forgetting a teacher. Oh, Professor Scott in history.
I'd have to go with all of them because I think they've all been real special, and it's been a memorable experience in all my classes.
Spring Riot, the perennial event commemorating the vernal equinox, is usually held on the first Fairweather Thursday after spring break. Well, as you probably already know, the first Thursday after break this year was cold and rainy, so it should have been held last Thursday, right? Well, wrong. Last Wednesday, students jumped the gun, starting the familiar bonfire a day early. Campus security, as well as members of the administration of the college, were caught off guard. However, Spring Riot went off without a hitch. Some of the more popular items to throw into the fire this year were fireworks, many copies of the commission report on student life, various furniture and clothing, as well as a lab pack from the bio department.
Now, my understanding of this whole thing is that the security guards were there, but they just kind of sit by and watch and have fun, or what? They throw in bean dip? Or?
They were going to close the thing down, but because of what do you call them, bottle rockets were being thrown into the fire, but they didn't close it down anymore.
Well, thank God for that. We're happy to report that the missing person we described in last week's newscast has been found. David Allen Yoakum was apparently in the woods for a week around Knox County and is now back safe with his parents.
I bet you're wondering why the Collegian was not available last Thursday. A Collegian editor told KCTV that the distribution manager picked up last week's copies of the student paper and then proceeded to lock his keys in the car, along with every copy of the Collegian. We have been promised that a front-page story written by Todd Van Fossen will appear in tomorrow's Collegian, detailing the complete story.
KCTV is now in the process of selecting staff members for the 1990-91 academic year. And KCTV is a lot of fun, right, guys? Yeah! Okay.
We have some fun around here.
If you are interested in becoming part of Kenyon's fastest-growing media organization, please call 5837, that's a PBX number, of course, for more information.
Well, we would just like to remind you that with comp stress and the ever-approaching threat of finals, First Step, the group of peer helpers, is here, whether for information or just to talk things through. First Step is confidential and anonymous. The phone lines are open from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and 10 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. Friday and Saturday. The phone line number for First Step is PBX 5626. That's PBX 5626 for First Step.
That's the news from around the Hill. Thanks for joining us. We leave you now with footage of President Jordan dancing to Madonna's song, Cherish.